Okay, next we're going to talk about the cast off. Right now I'm at 69 rows on my machine. It just turned 69 and I know that I want to stop at 70 rows. So I'm going to, when I'm working on a project, I get to cranking until I'm at that right before that last row. And then I want to watch really closely because I always stop at the same place I started. So when I'm casting, so I get my right count for whatever project I'm working on. So I'm going to go ahead and crank slowly till my last pin pops up. Let me get there. We're almost there. Right there we go. And then it ticks over. Okay. So then what I need to do is I need to have enough yarn for my cast off. Now, if you're really needing to conserve yarn, you could do a little shorter cast off tail than what I'm going to show you. Let me pull this back just a little bit. I'm going to wrap it around my machine at least one time. So I just kind of wrap it around my machine and then bring it around the front. So wrap it around, bring it around the front. And I usually give myself a little extra, but what I find is just if you wrap it around, that's enough. But I generally give myself a little extra. But if you're needing to conserve yarn, you need at least one wrap, if that makes sense. You want to have enough to do your cast off tail. So you're going to cut that. And then the next tool that you're going to need, the next tool is you're going to need a needle to cast off. Now the Centro comes with a needle like this one here. And it works perfectly fine. It's really stiff. It doesn't bend. It's fine. And you can get plastic ones like this with the, like a darning needle with the bend, which I absolutely prefer. I think this came with one of my Addies. But I really like, and you have to be careful with this because it's metal and you don't want to damage your machine. But I do like the metal ones, guys. I do like the way that they feel. So that's what I'm going to use today. So right here, this white pin is my last one. So I'm going to, before I get started, I'm going to thread my needle here, get that all going. So my needle is threaded. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out of that feeder and hold it up and then crank so that I've cranked and held that one down. Okay, so now that's down. So now I'm going to get over the top here so you can see, zoom in. Now, you're going to see on lots of the YouTubes and other places, people will crank all the way around to release the stitches and then start casting off. I do not suggest that for a few reasons. One, when you're starting out, it's really easy to miss where to stop. And then what happens is you're going to start dropping stitches. If I just crank this all the way around, my whole project's going to fall in the middle. It'll just push off the last pieces of yarn and you'll drop all the stitches. And you don't want to do that. So if you're finding you're having struggles with the cast off, this is a great method. So here's our cast off yarn on that one there. And you just crank. And you can see how it released this stitch. This stitch is now open. It's open. And then I can go ahead and put my needle in there, pull up and pull it through. And I would pull straight through like that. If you pull up, you have a tendency to pull on these stitches and just get in the habit of pulling through. And then later when you feel more comfortable, you can release more at a time if you want. Now I've released all of these stitches here now. So if I would go in here and pull straight up, it could pull these stitches off. So you want to, if you get in the habit of just pulling straight through, you're not pulling on those other stitches. And then I throw my yarn to the center. And then I go for my next one, pull straight through, throw my yarn in the center, and so forth. And you do that until you get all the way around, okay? Well, I've got a couple tips here. If you're still struggling, like you're still dropping and you're worried about dropping, what you can do is you can go ahead, I'll show you, I think you can see it. Go ahead and thread your needle through, but as you're pulling, put your finger on that other open stitch. So if you release other stitches, and see now if I would pull up, I'm holding on to that so that can't come up or come off of there. I've got one that's stuck here. There we go. Nope, got it. I thought it was stuck, but it's where my end is. Okay, so just release. If you release one at a time, you're not going to have that issue. Because this one's still, you know, on the pin, and I don't have to worry about it falling off until it's released there. So you're just going to go all the way around. All the way around. And I'm doing it through the camera here, so it's a little harder for me, a little more awkward. But I just throw them into the center. And something with the Centro that I don't believe the Addy has, it's smoother. When you're putting your needle in, there's like a little ledge here. A little ledge right there. And sometimes your needle wants to get stuck on that. And you really do want to watch and make sure you're getting all of the fibers picked up. It's really easy to split those fibers if you're not paying attention. And I've just found if I cast off right in front of me here, I can see exactly what's going on. And I don't have to worry about, you know, splitting. If I'm casting off a little bit away from me where I'm not really looking straight at the stitch, it's easier for that stuff to happen. And it can cause you problems when you want to cinch up your piece if you have those fibers split. And it's easy to drop in the beginning. This is the part that sometimes I remember in the beginning, I would get my project all done. I would spin it around to release the stitches and I would drop some. And then it was just so frustrating because at the time I didn't know how to fix them either. So then I would have to frog it and start all over again. And I just want to have you have a good experience. That's the reason I'm doing this whole series. But yes, this is just a great way to go about doing it. Now, if you get real brave and you want to do something fast, you can do this, where you pick up multiple stitches at a time. But don't try to do that in the beginning when you're getting started, because it is a greater chance that you're going to drop the stitches. The other thing is, initially when you're starting out, you're going to have more tension on your whole project. It's a little harder to pick up those stitches. Now, if you end up getting like a really big needle, and this might be, you know, easier for you to do it this way, but I just think it's a greater chance or greater risk that you may have trouble. And nothing's more frustrating than when you've cranked, you know, 130 rows or more on a project, and then you drop a bunch of stitches and you have to start over again, and it becomes a problem. And you get frustrated. So you don't want to do that. So we're going to go through this whole thing here. The whole thing in real time. I'm not speeding anything up. I want you to see what it takes to do this. Now my tail, I'm going to make sure shorten that up just a little bit there. And my yarn's getting a little twisty, but that's okay. It's not a problem. We're just releasing as we go. All right. Okay, we're almost to our last few stitches. Now, it's not uncommon for that last stitch to kind of hang up. We'll see if it does it this time. It looks like it's going to release perfectly fine. So, and there you go. And then I just hold my project and pull through, and there you go. That's it. That's the cast off.